Ladies and gentlemen, we are live with the comic book haul and discussion. We changed some stuff around this evening. Of course, my name is Al Rainey, and my esteemed colleague is Xavier Randall. And we are here, as we normally are on Wednesday evenings, to share our wealth and knowledge and just talk about comics and everything that's surrounding comics. Matt Odom, which is normally our ringleader or our host, he was jet setting this weekend, styling and profiling like the nature boy Ric Flair. And he should be on shortly. Vince is unable to show up tonight because he is a little bit tired, and I understand that. We might see Larry later on. Again, we might not, and TC as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As I normally say, we'd like to thank you for your viewership as far as you watching the show. We do appreciate it. X, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm wonderful. How about yourself, sir?
Man, I'm good. I can't complain, man. If I won the Fantasy Five or Powerball, man, I would be splendiferous. But that hadn't happened yet. But in the meantime, I still can't complain. So we're gonna go ahead and get this started. And like I said, Matt will be joining us shortly. Talking about comics in particular, this past weekend there was a convention in the great state of New York City, which is the New York City Comic Con, which is the second largest comic convention in the U.S. behind the San Diego Comic Con. And with this particular convention, they dropped some goodies. I didn't think that we had some goodies comparable to those from San Diego Comic Con, but as Xavier and I were speaking before the show started, it kind of makes sense to drop the bomb in California and San Diego, considering that is the mecca of entertainment in the United States, even though Atlanta, Georgia is fastly moving up that ladder. They dropped a few trailers this past weekend, and I was kind of impressed with a few. Of course, the blitz, the media blitz, and the advertisements for Doctor Strange has been ramped up a few notches with that particular movie being released November the 4th. And they dropped their final trailer before the actual movie dropped. So, in spite of that, there were a few other trailers that they debuted. I was only impressed with maybe three of the trailers that they showed. One of them really wasn't a comic book. Two of them rather weren't comic book trailers, but nonetheless, Comic Con is a means or a vehicle to drop whatever you want to have marketed. So I'm gonna start with you, X. Was there something in particular, or some things in particular, with the Comic Con trailers that you that caught your eye, that you were impressed by, and said, "Hey, I gotta go watch that when it comes out"?
I mean, the main one was Iron Fist. You know, I'm really enjoying the trailer that they show now versus the teaser trailer. The only thing that kind of bothers me though, and I was gonna ask you, and I was gonna ask Matt later on, why does he always walk around with like one sleeve?
Who, Iron Fist?
Yeah, like before he became Iron Fist, he still only walked around with one sleeve. I don't,
Now, to be honest with you, I don't know about that. For what I know about the character, Iron Fist was more or less and and I think what it could be is because he was imbued with that dragon spirit. Again, don't get me the line because I'm not really astute on Iron Fist, but it could be based on the trailers that they showed that there may have been some type of damage. I didn't notice that he walked around with like just one sleeve. But then again, if it's on that particular arm that he has his Iron Fist power on, that could be a reason. I don't know, to be honest with you. Matt might be able to share a little bit more insight on that once he jumps on. But to be honest with you, X, I didn't even pay attention to that.
um, another thing that I know it's right around the corner, but it's more and more the closer and closer we get to November, Doctor Strange. The only thing is, I know. they're not gonna let me down like Suicide Squad let me down, but I had the same feelings. Like the closer and closer Suicide Squad got and came, I was more and more excited. It's the same thing with Doctor Strange. I'm just hoping and praying that I'm not let down like that, which I seriously doubt I would be. Because this new trailer was, I like this one a lot better than all the other ones.
I would say this: Doctor Strange has actually it's piqued my interest. Doctor Strange is another one of those characters that I have some general knowledge on, but I'm not proficient in the ways of Doctor Strange. However, I think Marvel is really starting to attack when it comes down to um, expanding the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Of course, you know the trailer actually speaks. They mention the Avengers and how they protect against earthly threats, and now Doctor Strange has come on the scene to protect Earth from supernatural threats. We talked about this in one of the, or maybe a couple of the shows prior to today, where with Doctor Strange, that actually opens up the door for other Marvel properties to be showcased. One of Matt's favorite people, you know, who I'm talking about, Brother Voodoo. He could always be brought in because at one time he was Sorcerer Supreme when Doctor Strange was going through some things. Dormammu, Mephisto, they could also reintroduce Blackheart. So, you know, with that particular Rose Gallery, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I think this is rumor right now, but I read somewhere on a site, and again, I'm not sure if it's reliable information, but I did read that one of Marvel's next phases after Thanos has been dealt with was to make Dormammu uh, a big bad as far as like a major character. So that could be one of the reasons why there's a lot of, you know, steam behind Doctor Strange. Of course, you know, Marvel doesn't want the movie to fail, but the trailer, man, I'm telling you, it looked really good. I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I think I could go and enjoy this particular movie. So I think they're going in the right direction with that. So um, on the subject of trailers, they of course dropped the Power Rangers trailer, and I was reading a post that Vince had posted in the Gamer Buddies page on our on Facebook, where he kind of canned the trailer, and I think you agreed with him as well. He kind of canned the trailer to Chronicle, and I will say, after watching that trailer about two or three times, it did give you that feeling of Chronicle. Now, I'm not sure who the directors and the producers of the Power Rangers movie is, but it seems like that they may have used Chronicle as a basis behind the Power Rangers movie. What are your thoughts on the trailer itself, X?
I I feel a lot better about it now because at first I thought it was gonna be like, and I'm sorry for Power Ranger fans out there. I thought it was gonna be the cheesy Power Ranger from when they first came out. You know, after I'm sure everybody has seen the fan made Power Rangers movie on YouTube. After seeing that, I thought it was gonna be real quirky and whatnot, but I like the direction that they're going in because it's like they took pages from that. It wasn't as dark, but it's darker than what we are used to. And I'm
Right.
forward to that. I felt great after watching it. You know, it's I can't wait. I'll be there. If Junior's not with me, I will be there to see it.
I think it shows some promise. I think that they are going into an entirely different direction than the TV show, which is not a bad thing because you know they came out with Power Rangers the movie back in the early '90s or something,
Yeah.
and they followed the formula of the TV show. So it stands to reason that they could reach out and go in a different direction. I mean, because one or two things is going to happen with any movie that's released. It's either going to be a success or it's going to be a bust. So, if it's a success, then we could imagine seeing a couple more sequels after the initial one. If it's a bust, we won't see anything else, possibly. So I think the trailer in itself, it intrigued me to the point to where I want to see a little bit more. And when they mean teaser trailers, they really did like teasing.
Right.
What I got from the trailer is you got a bunch of misfits, and the misfits, come together because it looks like they were in detention or something, and from there they decided to go to wherever the Zords were. And I think the interesting part about the actual trailer is the fact that whatever those medallions were, which I guess are those, well, I don't know, what they call them, the transformer, not transformer called, but what?
I just hope all the pods.
Yeah, the pods or whatever. It, gives them super strength and agility and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see where that leads. But that trailer, it kind of piqued my interest slightly, but not to the point to where I'm just gonna go watch it. It's gonna have to be like something astounding, like the Zords are gonna have to be like 200 feet tall, for me to be like, oh my god, I gotta go watch this. So,
You talking
but
about?
go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
I said you talking about Ultraman.
Well, that would be a good property to revitalize, but that's another discussion for another day. So, um, also in reference to trailers, there were a couple other trailers that I saw. Underworld Blood Wars looks like it's going to be a pretty good movie. I'm a fan of Underworld since the first one. Kevin Grievou or Grivo, however you pronounce his name. He's a brother that actually has been in the comics for a long time. He helped co-create the Underworld series, and he also created the Blue Marvel for Marvel Comics, which is actually in the Ultimates comic book to date. So that was an appealing trailer. Were there any other trailers in particular, X, that you've seen that kind of like stuck out to you?
Not really. I can tell you a trailer I wish they'll stop showing is Legion.
Oh, The Walking Dead.
No, Legion.
Oh, Legion,
Yeah.
Legion. I thought you said Negan. My bad.
No, no.
Um,
That I just don't like. You already know how I feel about that, so I'm.
well, I will say this. I purposely, and this is the God honest truth, I have purposely not watched the Legion trailer because my history and my knowledge on who Legion actually is and what that show is about, it just takes me back on the rant in reference to Fox just taking what they want to take and just um, doing whatever with. Case in point, Logan 3 or whatever they're gonna call it. Of course, they debuted a big poster in California, and they also dropped some information in reference to um, the antagonist for, well, two antagonists rather, for the third and final Wolverine movie.
Okay.
And we talked about this via the gaming buddies. Donald Pierce is one, and shout out to Larry for refreshing my memory on Donald Pierce and his encounters with Wolverine and the X-Men. But I stand to still wonder why they use Donald Pierce. I mean, with Wolverine's Rogue Gallery, with the Hand, with Omega Red, with Cyber. I mean, they could have used pretty much any other um, villain that Wolverine has encountered and I think it would have been better off. And I honestly believe, and this is just my opinion, that because Fox Studios has such an immense selection to choose from in reference to the X-Men. I mean, the X-Men in itself, with the splinter groups that the X-Men has birthed, with X-Force and the New Mutants and X-Factor, that's a lot of material for Fox to work with. And it was apparent in Days of Future Past when they had Bishop and Warpath, and in the movie for no particular reason, only to have well, Sunspot too, even though Sunspot is pretty much going to be in the New Mutants movie. I think they pretty much just cherry pick characters and say, hey, we're just going to throw them in there because we have the rights to them. Same with First Class. I'm not really a fan of those movies, as I vocalized on several occasions. And I've definitely not been a fan of the Wolverine movies because I feel like they could have done so much better with those movies. So that's one that I'm not really looking forward to as far as being on my radar. But you never know. I mean, things could change over a period of time. Um, what about you, X? I know you were very vocal in reference to the Wolverine movies as well.
I'm going to see it just because it is going to be the last one. I'm going to party like it was 1999. I'm talking about I'm going to be in there with streamers and everything as soon as the end credits end. Because I mean, I'm not saying Hugh Jackman is a bad actor. I'm not, because he's a very good actor. But he has destroyed Wolverine to me. You know, whether it's starting with Bryan Singer messing up in all the X-Men movies, with the exception of Brett Ratner, who did X3. Um, you giving Hugh Jackman his little inputs and say so on it, it messed it up even more. And then not following the storyline at all outside of the name and mutant powers. Now I'm ready to see this whole come and go. One thing I am excited about outside of it ending is them hinting to X-23. Only thing is, why are you bringing X-23 in when he is literally on his way out? That it's
Well,
going where they are, like, they had some time together before she technically became the new Wolverine. So one movie, come on, and then why did you take Sinister out? What was the point of even having the Essex Corp suitcase at the end of Age of Apocalypse if you're not going to use him in it? That was that Fox, Bryan Singer.
yeah, you have Fox Logic. That's we're gonna start a hashtag. Vince, if you watching, Fox Logic is another one of our hashtags in addition to the timeline and what was the other one? Why Barry Thank You Bear or something.
Why?
So Fox Logic, yeah. So Fox Logic is going to be another one of our hashtags. To be honest with you, man, it goes back to what I said before. You bring Sinister into the fold as if he was going to be a main character in the last Wolverine movie, only to find out that he isn't. So, to open up another can of worms, is Sinister going to be the main foil in the next X-Men movie, or will it be someone else?
I don't
I
think
don't know.
I don't need any
I'm sorry, what you say?
movies. No, until Fox sells the rights, there need to be no more X-Men movies. That's
That's not gonna happen, sir.
I know, wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's very wishful thinking. And to be quite honest with you, I have the feeling that we are going to see more and more movies as time goes by. So, to be honest with you, we're probably not done with seeing X-Men movies. I'm pretty sure that, and I wouldn't be surprised based on this new Logan movie if they have another X-Men movie planned after that, which I'm sure they will, that X-23 doesn't take Wolverine's place. It could be that they're trying to mimic what's going on in the comic, as far as X-23 being the new Wolverine. So I'm sure Larry, if he's watching, he will be happy with that, as he is. X-23 happens to be one of his favorite characters. So, I mean, we'll see. Everybody can't be satisfied. Unfortunately, somebody gonna be left out in the cold, and it's gonna be me and you, X. It's gonna be me and you. So,
Okay.
um, anything else you'd like to add, sir?
I know, I know if Larry's watching this, he's cool, but I know he's not cool with X-23 being in because I know he does not want Fox to mess up X-23. He after they get their hands on X-23, he might feel the same way toward Fox that I do toward them as Wolverine. So
Yeah.
Harry, I'm hoping that they do right by X-23, but I'm sorry if they don't.
I have no faith in Fox Studios at all. I don't.
It's gonna be
I
singers.
don't.
Just saying.
I
They
don't. I don't.
mess up.
The only way right now that I would really have complete faith in Fox is if they turn over all of their X-Men properties to the individuals that produced the Deadpool movie. And a lot of people, they say, well, those particular movies, they pretty much it wrote itself because of who Deadpool is. But the thing that a lot of people are failing to understand or realize is that they still followed the comic book as best as they could. And I think that's one of the major differences between why Deadpool was such a successful movie, in addition to the fact that everybody and their cousin is a Deadpool fan, except for me. So, so we've talked about Iron Fist, we've talked about Wolverine, New York Comic Con trailers and everything. I saw some news a couple of days ago that indicated that Netflix is currently working on The Punisher. The Punisher is actually being worked on right now. They're filming The Punisher, and they haven't come up with a date as far as a release date for that particular show. I do know that with that Iron Fist trailer they came up with, I think it's March of next year, 2017. So it will be safe to say that the Punisher is probably going to be around that time frame, or it may be a little bit later on. Um, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was basically saying that they kind of got a pattern now where they'll more than likely drop like the Punisher and Iron Fist early part of 2017, and then maybe Jessica Jones in another show, perhaps Luke Cage, latter part of 2017. I read an article where Daredevil supposedly has gotten pushed back, and they're not sure when that's going to be. Season 3 is going to be dropped, so I'm hoping that they get that rectified soon. So, because the Defenders is actually going to be, the shows are actually going to be a precursor to the Defenders. So they at least got to drop the Iron Fist show.
Right.
So, what did you think about that, sir?
Um, it's funny, you know how last week, toward the end of the show, we were saying talking about what shows we wish or we would like to see Marvel make. You know, there are heavy rumors towards them doing Blade and Moon Knight now. Like, so you all spoken into existence last week. I also saw today where they are really pushing for season 2 of Jessica Jones. So that might be why Daredevil season 3 got pushed back a little because I didn't even know about that. But
Yeah, I read. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
no,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
I read an article. I can't remember what site it was. Sometimes you have to take those particular sites with a grain of salt, but sometimes they're accurate. But it says something along the lines that that Daredevil was in pre-production, and they were unsure as to when it would actually go into production to give some type of release date on season three. Oddly enough, with everything that's been going on with the information that you just said, um, with Moon Knight possibly getting its own TV show, along with the Punisher, who we already know that's being filmed. There was news that dropped. I think it was this weekend or early the latter part of last week, where Jeff Loeb, I think that's his name. Is that him?
It's yeah.
Okay, yeah, he was actually asked about the possible crossover between Agents of Shield and some of the Netflix folks.
Did
Daredevil. Go ahead, sir.
no, I said I did see that.
So even though we may not see Luke Cage and Mr. Odom has joined us.
Greetings.
What's up, home killers?
Right off the plane.
Right off the plane. Right off the plane.
With the,
We were talking about the possibility of the Netflix heroes joining the Agents of Shield. There was an article that dropped last week about that. You care to give us your thoughts about that, sir?
Well, I mean, first off, good evening, everyone. And I'm glad I was able to make it. I was zooming trying to get in. But first and foremost, man, I want to give you a props for last week because you brought that up about Marvel shows tying in with one another, and it looks like that's the route that they're going to take, and it only makes sense that they would do something like that to capitalize on the brand. I mean, I'll give you a good example. I was actually on the way getting up when I was getting off the plane in the customs, and someone walked up to me, said, "Hey man, I like this shirt," and said, "My husband is a big Iron Fist fan," and I said, "Well, at some point they're gonna wind up connecting and crossing paths." And the person said, "Well, he's also a Daredevil fan," so that let me know that number one, she knew what was going on, and more people are looking forward to those type crossovers happening. So I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, why would you not want to capitalize on something that you can capitalize on? So I think it's a great move. I think it's a good look. I'm excited as always. I'm really thrilled with what Marvel are doing outside of the comic books, because inside of the comic books, that's a whole different topic. But outside the comic books, they seem to be all is well. I mean, I don't know if it's down to who they got running creative and marketing or whatever, but it seems like they're just everything they're touching right now is gold as far as outside of the comic book goes.
I agree. The comics right now, are, in my opinion, are iffy, and of course, Larry Crocker will debate that to the very last end. Um, Shout out to Larry. But yeah, I think they're going in the right direction with their TV shows. And I think, in all honesty, at the end of the day, we're going to see a product where it's going to be something that, of course, we haven't seen before, because we haven't seen the amount of intricacies that we're seeing right now with the Netflix shows, as far as them intertwining. Of course, there was news that Rosario Dawson, of course, is going to be a mainstay on Iron Fist, and apparently, she's going to be the glue. And we talked about this before as well. She's going to be the glue that ties everybody together for the Defenders, which I'm pretty safe to say that she's probably going to be a mainstay. So I will say this for Rosario Dawson: she will not be out of work anytime soon.
Well, I think they're gonna.
Go
I
ahead,
don't
sir.
mean to cut you off there, but I think she's gonna be one of those characters that's gonna really be on everybody's show. So uh, I can't see, in a sense, man. I don't think I brought this up, but I really think this like rejuvenated her career. Not that she really needed much rejuvenation, but I really think this is kind of like, how you watch an old NFL player and they say, well, man, we want you to stop being a go too wide out. We're gonna cut you down to a tight end and use you on third down. And it turns around and prolongs their career about 8 years. Yeah, this is something
Right.
that's gonna have the same thing. It applies to
That Charles,
Rosario. Dawson, go ahead, X.
I said that's that Charles Woodson effect. When he
Bingo. That's exactly what it is.
free safety.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I think Rosario actually plays the part exceptionally well. And I think that her and I think that also another character is Misty Knight is another character that could be hopping from between shows, especially now that she's established with the Luke Cage, because she's a mainstay on Iron Fist and Daredevil. So I mean that's another character that could really go places. And Al, let me say this while it's on my mind, is I think that
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to start clamoring for these roles. Uh, I believe I read while I was gone somewhere that I see Forrest Whitaker is going to be is going to be in.
He's been cast for Black Panther, but I'm gonna tell you what really tripped me out. I'm gonna let you finish Kanye style. But Sigourney Weaver was actually tapped to play the villain on the Defenders.
Yes, I heard that. Antonio told me that. So
So when you got that kind of star power, like you said, yeah. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean when you it's like you now piggyback off what you're saying. When you have that kind of star power, I mean you got people going to be clamoring, dying for roles that they don't have to have like mid grade A top level movie, trying to get movie money. They can say, you know what, we'll do a couple of seasons of this here. I'll be a villain, or I've seen where superstars are tweeting out, I want to be a villain in this show, or I want to be this villain for when this shows up. And I mean that's a really cool thing to see, man. And you also have to realize that a lot of these people are within our age demographic. So these are all people that grew up on this stuff that realize that this is fulfilling in some cases, their boyhood and young girl dreams to be in some of these roles.
Not only that, but I think a lot of them see the fact that it's very lucrative. Right now, we've seen comic book movies really come into their own as of the Dark Knight series. Like, of course, we had comic book movies before that, but the Dark Knight kind of like put things into perspective. Of course, we got to give shout out to Blade, which is the granddaddy of all superhero. I mean, he was like the first successful comic book hero that predates Man of Steel, whatever, Batman, all that. But I think in this particular day and age, man, a lot of these actors and actresses are looking at the fact that these comic book movies they haven't waned, they haven't died down. Uh, it was something I saw on YouTube a couple of days ago that said that as of Captain America: Civil War, that was the 11th Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that was dropped.
Yeah,
11 movies. That's a lot of movies,
that is a
and
lot.
that's not even including Incredible Hulk. Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm just saying that is a lot of movies.
It's a lot, and then of course you got Doctor Strange dropping next month. You got the Guardians of the Galaxy dropping next year, and some other Thor Ragnarok dropping next year. People see that as a cash cow, man. It's like, I gotta jump in there. You see that kind of stuff all the time. Forrest Whitaker, to piggyback off what you said, he was added to the Black Panther cast.
He should have been Two-Face.
Who? Forrest Whitaker, man, leave that man's eye alone.
Cool.
Stop it. Stop it. I mean, Forrest Whitaker, man, he's an excellent actor. I mean, he won an Oscar for King of Scotland, where he played Idi Amin, an African dictator. So, I mean, if anybody has the chops to pull off whatever role that they put him on, he more than capable. I mean, they're not trying to deviate, but that Black Panther cast is shaping up to be a doozy, man. You got Lupita, what's her last name?
Yeah,
Young.
Leon.
Uh, you got Michael B. Jordan. You got Chadwick Boseman. You got Dana Guerrero, I can never get her name right, but Michonne from The Walking Dead. I mean, really? Yeah, they had Denzel Washington, man. Somebody's head is probably gonna implode. So, but yeah, man, I like the way Marvel, the direction is going with these movies and stuff and the TV shows, and I think it can only get better. It's been rumored that they're thinking about doing a Ghost Rider show. It's crazy, man, and that's the reason why I would like to see DC um, get on something and get a move on, whether they have to emulate Marvel or do their own thing. And speaking of DC, I don't know if y'all actually saw the premiere episode of Supergirl, but Supergirl actually drew some high ratings for the CW. And by all accounts, from everyone, well, mostly everyone, just looking at some of the websites and some of the posts via Facebook from comicbook.com, the consensus is that the show was a pretty good episode, but it lends credence. And have y'all seen the episode yet?
I did.
Have you seen it, Matt?
No, I hadn't.
Okay.
Of course, I hadn't seen it.
Yeah. Well, you get it. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was over. You was. I'm sorry, I forgot you were chilling with Rick Flat this weekend. My bad. But
Hey, Al,
yes, sir.
I'm not to interrupt, but I can honestly tell you why the ratings was so high because Superman was on the show.
And I was just about to ask that question. And that's what a lot of people say is the reason why is because Superman made an appearance. Now, I watched the episode and I thought it was pretty good. And I think his presence on the show, even though I don't like Superman, I don't like Superman. I think his presence on the show actually helped it because looking at episodes of Supergirl when she was on CBS, I don't see. I don't know. I just
The best episode had the Flash in it, and that wasn't the greatest episode either.
right. So I mean, as far as it goes, a lot of people are praising the guy Taylor Hoechlin, I think is his name. I'm butchering these last names tonight, but they're praising him for doing a pretty good job, and a lot of people were happy to see that he kind of embodied the old Christopher Reeve Superman, which is always a good thing,
He was weak to me.
Think so?
I'm not saying he was a weak actor, but it just looked like Supergirl was stronger than he was when the plane scene.
Hmm.
It looked like he was struggling.
Well, somebody out there will need to correct me if I'm wrong. If you're watching live on YouTube, please type your comments in. But if I'm not mistaken, at one point in the comic books, she was supposed to be stronger than Superman.
Supposed.
They might have retconned it, but she was supposed to actually be, as far as her strength level, she was supposed to actually be stronger than him. Now, again, this is something that I read some time ago, but um, I think it was a pretty good episode, and I agree with you, X. I think his presence actually helped the show, and it helped the storyline move along, especially with him and Martian Manhunter. Not gonna go into any details if somebody hasn't seen it, but I think it kind of and it gave a little bit of validity to the show, and not only that, but to the CW verse because you got Superman in the same universe as the Flash now. So it really wouldn't be a problem if they want to do like a little Justice League. You know what I'm saying? The only person that will two people will be Wonder Woman and Batman, and I think they could still kind of skirt around that if they wanted to. So
They ain't gonna let Batman be on that.
you don't think so?
Warner Brothers, they're not having that.
Why not?
Because they stupid. To be honest, they're not gonna let that happen. It's just like Batman never gonna be on Gotham. They're very. That's a very fine line that they can't cross with Batman. I don't know why.
Man, if Adam West could run around with some doggone seasonal in a spice rack, they can have a they can have Batman on those shows. But it's Warner Brothers. They own the property, so
one thing I will say about like what you said about Supergirl being stronger, technically she is stronger at a to a certain degree because of this raw power. She hasn't learned how to control it yet. Like how
Mhm.
when Superman was young Clark Kent, he technically was a lot stronger because he hadn't learned how to control his powers. That's essentially what she's doing now. But if you think about it, she's a teenager, whereas Clark grew up learning how to do this. So that's a lot of power that she has that's just coming out at one time. You see what
Okay,
I'm saying?
gotcha.
Like a vampire, as soon as they get bitten, I hate to bring up Twilight because I couldn't stand that franchise. But every time a new vampire was made, they were stronger because they didn't know how to harness their power. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. I saw them garbage movies too, so I know exactly what you're referring to. So, oh man, Matt, you want to add anything to the conversation, sir?
I mean, I'm not a massively big fan of Supergirl anyway, so I mean, it's really not too much to say on
Yeah.
it. I just, you know, really not much for me to say when it comes to Superman and Supergirl. It's Superman are due from time to time. Supergirl is fair. I hadn't even I watched one episode, and that was last season episode, the first one. So I hadn't even watched the second one. I'll probably take a look at it since you brought it up. I'll probably look
It's rough.
into it. But
Season one, rough, Matt.
yeah, I know. I'm just gonna probably have to skip season one. I'm sorry. I just have to skip it and go to season two, like I did with Agents of Shield, which I've got to get caught back up on. I'm a couple episodes behind on that because I was one out of the country last week. Thought it came on Thursday, forgot it came on Tuesday, so I got to go back and get caught up on that. But as far as Superman on Supergirl, it's the same thing as you telling me my paint on my wall is white.
Oh man.
Oh,
And on that note, we'll move on.
hold on. Before we
Um,
move,
okay.
Matt, speaking of Supergirl, who is Miley Cyrus to speak on anything about women's inequality and whatnot? How the name girl is meaning and this, that, and the other.
You know what? First of all, I read that article and I have to say this. Number one, you have a lot of people that that they they jump before they look. You know, Miley Cyrus put her foot in her mouth. The Supergirl character has been around long before Miley Cyrus was even thought of while she was swimming in her daddy's testicles. Um, as far as it goes, I think what it is, man, and I'm not trying to get political on the show, but you have this movement, and let me just say this: I have no problems. I feel like women should be treated equally in society. They should not be treated as objects. I believe that with all my heart, but at the same time, to quote the Rock, you need to know your role and shut your mouth. I think with Molly, man, it was ignorance that allowed her to speak about the character. If she was familiar with the actual source material, there is already a Superwoman in the DC universe. Um, Season one, and I read this. I didn't really watch it, but they had an episode where they tackled the issue with her name as being Supergirl, and from what I read, the show handled it very well. So apparently, Miley Cyrus has never attempted to either a pick up a Supergirl comic book or B watch the Supergirl series from the first season or C did either. So it's easy for you to sit there and say that the name Supergirl dignifies women when you don't know anything about the character. You don't know anything about that character's history, and you don't know what issues or topics that they've already addressed via the TV show. And I mean, Miley Cyrus spent the majority of her time after she left Hannah Montana, trying to portray herself as the nation's favorite slut.
Right.
So and that's not just me talking about her. That's everybody seen the tongue licking and all the risque clothes with the condition that she suffers from called no acetol, um,
Not
Nasitol. So I mean, as far as it goes, her opinion is just like a booty hole. Everybody got one, so
I mean, why are we even
it,
talking about Miley Cyrus in comic book? I
because
mean,
she there was an article, and I know you were over there chilling, man, but there was an article that dropped this weekend where she was talking about Supergirl. The name Supergirl was actually demeaning to girls, and she even made
that
a
comic
comment.
book, she's waited about 40, she's about 50 years too late
right.
to step in. And, that comic book has been around for almost 50 years, and here you come talking about
Right,
Supergirl. Man, shut up.
right.
You must be out of your damn mind.
She is. So, but that's what I have to say about it. X. You got a lot of people they talk about stuff and they don't know what they talk about. So, hopefully, somebody's gotten into her ear and let her know and educated her on the ways of whatever comic books or whatnot. So, um, one last thing I just want to talk about, unless anybody else has anything to say. Well, actually, two. The Flash yesterday's show was the lowest ratings that it's received up until this point. I will say I was kind of disappointed in the episode. I understand how the episode was supposed to go, but at the end of the day, that particular episode yesterday fell flat for me. Like I told y'all last week, the Noid, aka the rival, it just didn't do anything for me. And I understand that his character was actually a temporary foil to the Flash because of Dr. Alchemy, but it didn't it fell flat. The only bright side of the whole episode, without making any spoilers, was Cisco at the end, and that was it. So X, I know you watched it. I think I'm assuming that you watched it. What are your thoughts on it, sir?
I feel the same exact way you do. That season, I mean that episode, man, man. I wasn't excited about it. I hate to say it because I love the Flash, but here's a good thing. Hopefully they can go nowhere but up from here since they did this episode so early in the season. I, I
I
hope
agree.
they can fix everything sooner than later because I'm tired of the whole. I'm not gonna say that because I spoiled it for people that haven't seen it. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue right now, man, is the timeline, like we talked about last week, and I think that's going to be a focal point along with Dr. Alchemy this season. So, I'm curious as to finding out how they are going to fix the timeline, because even though they made mention of that and what can and can't be fixed and all that good stuff, I honestly don't think that we're done with the timeline yet. So. But yeah, that last night's episode fell flat for me. One other thing, going back to the NYC Comic Con that they debuted was an extended trailer of The Walking Dead with Negan. I'm pretty sure y'all saw that particular trailer. It kind of shed some light to the after effect of what happened when Negan went on his Hank Aaron spree at the end of season 6. It had some dialogue between Rick and Negan, and it will be safe to say that they hinted for a major event to happen, possibly, um, perhaps in the season premiere of episode 1 of season 7. Were you all able to review or see that trailer by chance?
I saw it.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna say too much. We could talk about it at a later date since Matt didn't see it. But I will say this: I'm waiting for that particular episode for season 7 period. I think they're gonna ramp it up a notch. It's already been said that it may be more than one person, or there has been confirmation that more than one person is going to die in episode 1 of season 7, in the season premiere. So we already know one person got dealt with by Lucille. We just don't know who. Speculation is high, but there is been confirmation by Richard Dean Morgan, I think that's his name, or Negan himself, that there's going to be more than one person. Could that be a red herring? Perhaps, but I think they're going to start cleaning house to introduce some of the newer characters that were introduced after he was introduced in the comic. Any thoughts on that?
I heard I know exactly what you're talking about. I've also heard where a lot of people saying that the website that was posting that took what he said out of context.
Mm.
They were saying how when he was talking about it, it was more so of not killing more than one person, but like mentally killing them, torturing them and killing their spirits
Oh.
versus just killing two people. But
Oh.
I don't know. I'm hoping that it's one person, but I don't know. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it myself, my friend. So we got another 11 days. The season premiere of issue of season 7 of The Walking Dead is October 23rd. I will hopefully be in a position to where I can watch it, turning my phone off, because I think it's going to be a 90-minute season premiere. Not totally sure. I think it's going to be 90 minutes or something like that. So, alrighty. Well, we have gotten past all this stuff. We talked about a lot of stuff. Um, I guess what we do right now, we're going to go into our top five. Our top five, well, it was actually top 10. And our top 10 was actually our favorite superheroes and anti-heroes. I was talking to X before the show started, and I was like, I don't have that many superheroes, favorite superheroes that I like. I don't know if that's disturbing, considering that I proclaim to be a fan of comic books, which I am. Needless to say, X didn't have, well, he did have 10, but he felt the same way that I did. His sentiments were the same. So, what I'm going to do, Matt has left the building temporarily. We're going to go into our top five of our favorite superheroes. And I guess when he gets back, we'll go ahead and let him get his together as well. But I'll go ahead and get it kicked off. X, looking at my list, like I told you before the show started, I only had six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only had 6 characters on mine. Surprisingly, of the 6 characters that I have, 3 of these characters are mutants. Hold on, let me see. 1, 2. Yeah, 3 of these characters are mutants. 3 of these characters, of course, are with Marvel. 3 of them are with DC. However, starting with my honorable mention. My honorable mention made the list simply because of Rebirth and his TV show. Um, and that's the Flash. I've never really been a fan of the Flash. He just run fast, but for the most part, he's run fast, he run very quickly. But for the most part, I've grown fond of the Flash, and when collecting his Rebirth book and watching the TV show, I've actually gained a fan, gained an affection for the Flash. So the Flash is my honorable mention. And what we're doing, Matt, just to clue you in,
Yeah.
we're doing the top. Well, it's not really top. Well, if you have 10, cool, but we narrowed it down to 5 because I couldn't come up with but 6 characters. So, but my honorable mention would be the Flash. My number 5 favorite superhero is actually Sunspot. Sunspot is a member of the New Mutants. He later became a member of X Force, and then went off on his own, became Rain, Fire, and a whole bunch of other crap. So Sunspot is my number 5 favorite superhero. My number 4 favorite superhero is Cannonball. He also is an alumni of the New Mutants. I don't know why I'm drawn to characters like that, but he is my number 4 favorite character as far as superhero. Number 3 will be Firestorm, the Nuclear Man. I am a huge fan of Firestorm, one of the best characters that DC has ever created. Quite honestly, if they let Firestorm loose, could nobody stop him, including Superman. My number 2 is my Russian friend from Russia, Colossus. I've always been a fan of Colossus ever since I started collecting the X-Men books way back in the day when Comics Castle was on Pine Avenue. Colossus has always been one of those characters that I can actually relate to, believe it or not. So Colossus is my number 2 superhero. My number 1, X figured this one out. So I'm gonna let you guess, Matt, who you suppose is my number 1 favorite superhero.
Shazam.
Correct the mundo. Captain Marvel, the real Captain Marvel, aka Shazam, is my favorite superhero of all time. He is better than Superman in every way. So that's my top 5. So did you come up with the list, Matt, or did you want to give a stab at it, sir?
I can give you 4. I don't have 5. I can give you 4.
I can dig
Uh,
it.
uh, Iron Man, Captain America, Spider Man, Deadpool. And if I had to say number 5, I'd probably say the Punisher. Probably number 5.
Okay.
Deadpool. I've always been a big
Okay.
Deadpool fan. Well before this Deadpool craven. X will tell you that. So I was on Deadpool before many people even gave a damn about who he was. So
And the thing I was telling X about before we started the show, Wolverine would have made my list, but ever since they started pimping him out, I hate him. I mean, I don't hate him. I just don't like him. And I was a fan of Wolverine along with Colossus and the Banshee, believe it or not, back in the day. But I feel where you're coming from, man. This whole. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm sorry.
well,
I'm
I'm
going on a
gonna tell you like
tangent.
this,
Okay,
man.
X Man. Uh
Let
huh.
me say something here. I'm gonna tell you like this. I talked to me and Will at Comic Plus a couple of weeks ago talking, and I told him I felt like Wolverine was probably the most overrated comic book character of all time. Well, he's in that list. It's completely overrated.
You know what? It's not that he was overrated. Wolverine pretty much. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Larry because when I saw Larry last week, he said this before, but he broke it down. Wolverine is one of the few characters, man, that had a beginning, that had a middle, and had a definitive end. When Wolverine, when I started reading the X-Men comic books, Wolverine came off as being this brash, gruff, I don't care. He was like really one of the first anti-heroes, that was in a comic book. So that's what actually drew me to his character as far as his comic book character. But once he started gaining popularity and then Hugh Jackman took on the role and then he started showing up in like, how can you be one character, you have your own solo series, and you're in 7 different comic books, Avengers and X-Men books mixed together. That's overkill. So anyway, I'm done. Okay, X, what you got for us, sir?
I got 10. Um, y'all gonna laugh at this one, but my number 10 is Darkwing Duck.
That's
I
the funny about that.
Look. Number 9 is D, Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah,
A lot of people forgot about him, man. Can't forget about him. He's what introduced me in the anime. Well, I take it back, Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, but I watched that after Vampire Hunter D. Number 8, Lion-O. Number 7 was He-Man. Number 6 is Nightwing. Number 5, Deadpool. Number 4 is Hot Rod. Not Rodimus Prime, but Hot Rod. My heart, I'm gonna stay there forever. Number 3, Vegeta. The Prince of all Saiyans, baby.
I am the Prince of all Saiyans once again. Kakarot.
My number 2 is Wolverine. And of course, my number 1 is good old Bruce Wayne. Good Batman.
Figures.
Y'all know I love some Bruce Wayne, man.
Gotcha. Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to go ahead and turn this part of the service over like we in church. I'm gonna turn it over to the hands of Deacon Odom. And Deacon Odom, if you want to go ahead and get us kick started, man, on the pools this week, man, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take over this segment of the show, and anything else, man, that you want to lay upon us and the viewers tonight, sir.
Well, I appreciate it, my man. I actually sat here tonight and I opened up some of this stuff when I got in. So actually, this is some of my own the fly pool from what was sitting in the house when I got home. So I'm gonna pull that up.
This man ain't been back in the States for 2 hours and I already got a massive pool.
Hey, he probably got about 40 books over there, man. I'm sure of it.
All right.
He probably got books from Puerto Rico.
No, actually, while you're joking, I thought about going to comic store, but I realized I wouldn't be able to read it. So I was like, no, I'll stay where I'm at.
Yeah.
That defeat the purpose. So I was like, no, I think I'll just let it be. First up, this is going to be a Champions pool. Variant cover, Champions number 1. The Venom cover.
You got that pretty quick for Midtown.
No, this one actually came from somewhere else. This one didn't come from Midtown. This is, I think this was Antonio Coleman. Excuse me, that's the jet lag kicking in. This is an Antonio Coleman special here. This is a Midtown variant. This is the Tyler Kirkham. Jason Scott Campbell variant. Champions number 1. This is the Art Germ Champions number 1, which is one of my favorites. That one, and my favorite hip hop cover so far is the Champions. The Champions Wu-Tang Iron Flag, which is one of my favorite Wu-Tang covers. Cage number 1, LL Cool J, hard. Can't go wrong with that cover. I'm gonna look at that.
And you know what? Before you move on, I read that comic book yesterday. I got it too. Man, that book is pretty good, man. I think I'm gonna keep following that one.
Yeah, it's actually I read the reviews on it last week, and it was really good review. Deadpool Back in Black, black and white variant cover. A lot of people went for the color. I went for the black and white one. Daughters of the Dragon. This is the remake of, this is the first solo comic book series of the Daughters of the Dragon. And it also sports the spoiler alert. It also sports the arm that Misty Knight had from she received from Tony Stark. Thought this would probably be speculation value. Thought this may go up down the line, so I decided I'd pick it up. Got it for I believe $1.50 off of eBay. Just got this in today. Cannibal from Image, so I hadn't had a chance to read this. Although I heard pretty good things about it. Second up from Image is Moonshine, which is another one that I've heard really good reviews about. I've got the A cover, and I've got the Frank Miller variant. So I was glad to get that. And this variant is flying off the shelf. Yeah, Walking Dead, connecting cover. As I stated, I'm getting all of those. Uh, Typically, whenever you see Walking Dead connected covers, it usually leads to something pretty big. I was a fan. I got the Jessica Jones. Of course, I like the artwork on the cover. Uh, and Invincible Iron Man 14. And last but not least, I think that is. See, I think that's it. Yeah, the rest of it is Deadpool back in black. So, it's the reprint of Amazing Spider-Man #1. So that is it for me, man. Xavier, take it away, my friend.
Mine is very short. When I say very short, I mean like it's a small pool, but it holds some substance. You know what I mean? First, I'm gonna start with we got Go Al with the Flash. I didn't get the variant cover I want. I like this one slightly more just because the artwork behind it, and it has Kid Flash on the front. Um, went ahead and got excuse me, All Star Batman #3 cover, and last but not least, got the Mosaic Hip Hop cover right here.
Hold it up.
That,
That's nice.
but that is pretty much it. I got a lot that I got to pick up, but this is the stuff that I had to have today.
So you got that from Comic Store today?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. I didn't think we was going to order any hip hop bands. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'm on the list now, man.
That's right. I forgot you on the VIP list now.
I'm VIP level 1. I ain't made it to level 5 like you, but I'm VIP level 1.
So you got to press low kick, fierce, and medium punch at the same time. All right, Al, take it away, my friend.
Well, my list is my pool is not that extensive. Actually, I won't get a bulk of my stuff until this weekend. But I did pick up a back issue of one of the miniseries called X-Men, the 198. This was like a fallout from I want to say the House of M, where a lot of the mutants were depowered, and there was only 198 mutants left on the planet. So it was a 5-issue limited series, a miniseries, and that was the last one out of that one that I needed. I too picked up the Cage hip hop variant. This right here, like I just mentioned, is a great read. It actually, it's not a modern day book. It's from the 70s, but it was good enough for me to try to pick it up. Interesting fact, the writer and the author, excuse me, the artist of this book is Genndy Tartakovsky. And for those who are familiar with Genndy Tartakovsky, he is the man behind Samurai Jack, along with Foster's Home for Imaginary something. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all remember the Foster's Home cartoon?
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy that's actually inking and writing this. He's behind this book. So it was pretty good. I mean, just off the strength of Samurai Jack alone. So Cage #1 hip hop variant. Picked this up last week. Black. An interesting premise on this particular book. Basic behind it. What if only black people had superpowers, which in 2006 would probably be the genocide of every black man in the United States. I picked up Future Quest. DC is doing a really good job with these particular books. This is #5 in the series. I'm not sure if this is going to be a limited series or what, but it's a really good read, man. It's really good. I've enjoyed it since it dropped, so I'll continue to pick that one up. Last but not least is Green Lantern #7. I failed to pick up #8, which I'll probably be picking up this weekend. So this one is actually going into a new storyline. Which this has been a pretty good book. I've got a few, like I said, I need to pick up um, this weekend. My mosaic is coming in the mail. Of course, I got mine on super economy shipping through Midtown. So my hip hop variant and the main cover or the first print is coming through. So I should have it by next week's show.
3 weeks.
So, but that's no. Normally that
Yeah,
economy,
I'm
super
Al.
economy is like, huh?
I'm with you, Al. Mine should be here sometime. Probably, I say Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, it might be here this Saturday. I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably be next week, but I mean it's all good. So, but that's it for me as far as my pulls this week.
Well, that's it on my end. And I tell you, man, I hung in there as long as I can. I know I am exhausted, but, but I am
Cold
glad.
beans.
But I did want to say that I listened on the way in, and the Power Rangers trailer, uh, I thought was okay. Uh, like Xavier said, I think I brought it up last week. You know, I still think there's more that needs to be seen. At least I do know it's not going to be super cheesy. At least judging by what I've seen. So that remains to be seen. Uh, I think there some. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was another Iron Fist trailer
Mm-hmm.
that was out. Uh, hadn't had a chance to. I can't remember if I watched it or if I didn't watch it. Didn't watch it. I think I did. Yeah, I did because that's the one where the tattoo is in
Yeah.
is in that. Yeah, and I think the Iron Fist is going to go that way of Luke Cage, the culminating in the show when both of them are on at once. But to be honest with you, I'd rather them do Power Man and Iron Fist first before they do Defender. That's just me. I would rather them do it that way. But if they have to do it, you know, to just bring the Defender to bring them in, it is what it is. But I would prefer them to do Power Man and Iron Fist first before we get there. And also, Shang-Chi needs to be introduced before we even get to all of that Defender stuff. So, I mean, they got a few things there that I would like to see them iron out. But on the strength of the trailer, I think that Iron Fist looks good. Uh, Still have to adjust to not seeing an Asian play Iron Fist, which is kind of, you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm not gonna complain like some folks would complain about Luke Cage being black. So I'm not through. Not, you know, it is what it is. So um, I think that show is gonna be well. Uh, I'm already starting my countdown for that. Did not get a chance to see The Strain this week, so don't spoil it if you've seen it because I recorded it. So uh, I'll watch that. Actually, watch that while I'm laying in the bed tonight. So I'll watch that, and I guess I'll have to pass on The Flash because if Xavier and Al both said it was slow, then it sounded like a rough episode. So I'll probably pass on that. We'll pick it up next week. Z Nation. Now I did talk to Al about Z Nation before I left to go to the Dominican Republic. And I don't know if he took me up on it or not, but I did watch last week's episode of Z Nation, and I thought it was really, really good. So if you are watching Z Nation, this season picks right up where last season left off, and it is going full speed ahead. So I on a scale from 1 to 10, I probably give last week's episode probably a 9, 8.5 on it. So that's pretty much about it on my plate, guys. Xavier, anything in closing, my friend?
Did I'm kind of discouraged a little bit about Doctor Strange. I meant to say it earlier, not about the movie, but what's her name? Rachel McAdams. I think that's the actress that's in it. Y'all know that she's supposed to be night nurse also.
Yeah, they're gonna have this. Well, in the comic book, there's Linda Carter's. Uh, what is it? Linda Carter's night nurse school or pre-nurse something. It's the first one, and that's how her and Claire meet.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's you're gonna have night nurse, and then you have Claire, and they're gonna wind up being on the show together at some point.
Okay, I can dig it.
Yeah, they're like classmates, bro. Which is, if you get that night nurse, that's a really expensive one. That one is like $1,500. But still, if you can get your hands on a regular night nurse, then that's pretty damn rare to come by too. So you know how I am about night nurse.
Yeah. That's why I'm laughing. All
All
right,
right,
then.
Al.
Well, I guess, yes, sir. I guess that's pretty much gonna wrap our show up this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We went over a lot of stuff. I want to thank Matt Odom for having the faith in me. The matrix of leadership was passed to me tonight. However, Lord willing, Matt will be the host of the show next week, and I will be here as well as X, and as well as Larry and Vince and anybody else. So we are complete with another show tonight. We'll be back next week at the same, how you say it, Matt, same bat time, same bat channel. On behalf of Matthew Odom and Xavier Randall, I am Al Rainey, and I would like to wish you peace, love, and soul. Y'all have a good night, and as Matt says, may the force be with you. Ooh, yeah.